Welcome to Muslim Apologetics Australia. In this episode, we're going to go through the comment section where the Din Show posted a picture saying that this is the real hijab. So he says this is the real hijab on the left in the black and the white. This is how it's supposed to be done, where the complete body is covered. No curves are really explicitly showing. And while on the right side, we see that there are sisters who wear hijab in that particular way, where, you know, they're covered from the top, but hardly covered from the bottom. And of course, the correct methodology in Islam is the one on the left, the black and white image. And of course, there was a lot of objection to this in the comment section. And we need to understand that most of the comments that come are from those who have been secularized. They believe that we shouldn't judge anyone and everyone's Islam is to themselves. And you can see through the comments, I mean, people are saying things like, Sarah, for example, she says, and this doesn't mean the girls on the right have less faith than the other girls. It's better if you let the judgment to Allah. And again, the Din Show never made a judgment upon the heart of these people. He didn't say that the women on the left in their heart are a lot more pious than those on the right, because it can be that sometimes even those women who wear a hijab, like completely, sometimes they could have hypocrisy in their heart, and sometimes the iman in the heart of one who's not wearing the hijab properly could actually be stronger in faith, and that is true. So you can't use the exception to the rule as a general rule. The general rule is that yes, women who do cover themselves completely generally would obviously have a stronger commitment and a faith than those who don't, on a general basis. We're not saying, of course, there's going to be exceptions, but you can't use the exception as a rule and say that's your argument to say that we shouldn't judge. Now, the Din Show is, again, not judging he never made a judgment upon their hearts. All he said was this was the correct way to do the hijab. That's it. As simple as that. And then all these modernists and feminists or whatever, they've come on and they've turned around and said this is wrong, we shouldn't judge this. That's not how it's supposed to be. But one needs to understand the context of why such images are posted and why we need to illustrate what is the correct way to wear it and what is not the correct way. You see, there are modernist feminists out there who actually claim that the image on the right is actually valid. In fact, both forms of hijab is valid. In fact, actually, you know what? Some feminists actually say that it is extreme to actually cover the way those on the left do, the black and white. They actually say it's extreme, right? So, what happened to the judgment? I mean, you're accusing us for judging those on the right, but what about those on the left? You judge those on the left, and I'm pretty sure you do. And I know a lot of feminists do that, or modernists. They say, "Oh, well, they're not modern enough. They're not. I mean, what is that? It looks like it doesn't look, pretty enough." And they're constantly judging those on the left. So, I'm sorry, I'm not going to accept, your hypocrisy when you say, "Oh, we shouldn't be judging. We shouldn't be judging." I bet, without certainty, that most of you who say we shouldn't be judging, right, you're actually judging those sisters who are wearing complete hijab. And I'm pretty sure, without a doubt, that when a woman even wears a niqab, you're actually judging her too. You're in fact saying this is socially unacceptable, it's against our national interest. It's a security threat. This is a bit extreme. So, oh, well, hang on. I thought you weren't part of judging others. But when it comes to niqabis, you're shaking hands with the Christians and the Jews and the atheists, and you're banding together and saying, "Oh, look, the niqab, that's extreme. That's not hijab." Hang on. What happened to we shouldn't be judging people? And we'll keep discussing those inconsistencies as well. So on a general basis, when they say this doesn't mean girls on the right have less faith, on a general basis, that's exactly what it means. I mean, not on all cases, but on a general case, that's what it means. It means they're only half convinced with the faith and they're not fully convinced with all of its requirements. And so we need to post images like this showing what is right and what is not correct. See, if it wasn't for the feminist movements and the modernist movements claiming that what you see here is valid and that's true Islam, then we wouldn't post images like that. And there is no doubt that there are feminist or modernist movements out there that claim that this is valid. They claim that the plucking of the eyebrows are valid. They claim that putting makeup on your face like a cake is completely valid, and beautifying yourself as much as you can is valid, and wearing perfume is completely valid in the public sphere. There are movements, modernist movements out there that are saying this. So that's why we need to come out and judge this, to say it's wrong, because that's exactly what Allah prescribes. In fact, these modernists even misquote Hassan al-Basri. They always quote Hassan al-Basri. They say, Hassan al-Basri said, we shouldn't judge as in thinking that your heart or din is more pure or greater than someone else's din, based on appearance. But this does not mean we don't judge the action of sin, right? This is what they don't understand. We all should judge one another and remind one another if we see each other fall. If you don't judge me and I don't judge you, then who will remind? The Prophet said, if you see a sin, then change it. So we should never relax. No one is without sin. If you think that you have to be 100% pure in order to judge someone, there will be no hukum. There would be no laws, because we would all be sinful. Let's not fall into the biblical trap, those without sin cast the first stone. This biblical false teaching removed Christian Sharia law and was replaced by secular liberalism. In Islam we do judge, especially if those sins are open and transparent. If you see Muslim women working in brothels or Muslim young men drinking alcohol publicly, or you hear they are doing it behind closed doors and getting dressed up to go to a disco, you stand up and warn them. And you don't just sit back and say, well, I have my personal sins, I should just remain silent. No. Just as you should expect people warning you and reminding you not to commit those sins while they catch you doing them, equally, you should warn people and stop them doing sins. We as Muslims are one body. If one part is affected, then all of it is affected. The Prophet ﷺ said, I was sent as a warner for mankind. Allah didn't say he was sent to be silent for mankind committing sins. We should all warn one another if we see each other fall. There are some people who behind the scenes secretly hinder people off the right path. If such people exist, then Muslims should in fact openly expose that person and their private organization working behind scenes of misguiding the ummah. But first you should warn them. if they do not cooperate with the advice and continue to spread their evil ideology or beliefs, then that person or organization must be warned and exposed publicly to all Muslims against that person. In fact, Allah says in the Quran, "Did we not send a warner to you that you didn't take heed?" This proves that we should all act as warners and do our part in inviting to truth. The Quran calls the Muslims overall the best nation of all for doing the righteous work and forbidding the evil. This is what it says in Surah 3:110. You are the best nation produced as an example for mankind. You enjoin what is right and forbid. Notice here, you forbid what is wrong and believe in Allah. Doesn't say you be silent when you see something wrong. No, it says you forbid what is wrong and believe in Allah. If only the people of the scripture had believed, it would have been better for them. Among them are believers, the most of them are deficiently disobedient. Notice the verse does not say you are to forbid evil for yourself only. Rather, you forbid evil, halas, meaning you try and forbid other people engaging in that fahisha also. In other words, Muslims as a government body should implement the laws of Sharia upon its society. Example, not allow evil organizations to operate within its society. And if Muslims live outside a Sharia state, in the lands of kufr, then those community of Muslims, if they see other Muslims openly sinning, then they should be trying to stop them doing as such. Even if that means to stop it with the limited legal capacities they have. Even if it's to voice out their condemnation. That's, of course, if they cannot do it through legal terms, as the laws of the land of the kufr are not in line with the laws of Sharia. Therefore, because of the fact, then a Muslim should do what is capable of, and he is unable to do that, if he is for any particular reason, then the least he should do is hate the sin in his heart. Narrated by Abu Bakr Siddiq radiallahu anh, he said, "Indeed, I heard the Messenger of Allah say, when people see the wrongdoer and they do not stop him from doing wrong, then it is soon that Allah shall envelope you with punishment from him." This is in Jami al-Tirmidhi. It's really interesting, when the modernists say, "Don't judge me," they appeal to secularism and liberalism, their own legal platforms, and their laws actually judge people. You can't, for example, urinate in the public. You can't drink alcohol in certain public areas. But you don't see the modernists going up and saying to secularists and secular laws saying you shouldn't be judging society. But then when it's convenient, they start saying, oh, look, people in the Muslim community shouldn't be judging those. So again, why the double standards? And I've seen a lot of double standards here. I remember about Namin Ali Khan. Modernist Muslims would often say, I don't think we are anyone to judge what people should or shouldn't do. We should focus on our own din and leave other people's choices alone. May Allah guide us to the straight path. The same modernists, right, about Namin Ali Khan, did they use that standard when these things were going on about Namin Ali Khan, where there has been some leak that Namin Ali Khan is having an affair with multiple women? And by the way, he was actually separated when he did this, and he wasn't actually having an affair with multiple women. But did they stop this? Did the modernists stop here? No. They actually were starting to judge Nauman Ali Khan as a womanizer. Oh my God, how dare he? And they all started to doubt his faith, right? So it's interesting that when it comes to a man, and a man is acting in a behavior where it shows signs of misguidance, then all of these feminists and modernists start coming out and attacking Nauman Ali Khan. Not a single one of them said we shouldn't be judging him, we don't know what's in his heart. No, they literally were outcasting him. And no, I mean, you would hardly see a comment from these women saying we shouldn't be judging him. Don't judge me is an easy way of avoiding any kind of criticism. And the irony is that this catastrophe is usually, this catchphrase, is usually said in matters of din. If judgment was in of itself wrong, then why have all the court systems and thousands of books that are filled with juristic rules? Yes, there shouldn't be any accusation and slander in any judgment, but if anyone, especially a person of knowledge, highlights a problem of ours, we should happily accept it instead of playing the "don't judge me" card. I mean, will anyone say to a doctor, "Dr. Shuaib, please don't judge me," after he's told that he has a cancer, for example? Besides saying "don't judge me" is also a type of judgment. You're judging the one that's judging you for judging you. And isn't it amazing that Allah sends commandments with the Quran, that He even sent the Prophet as a messenger, as a warner. So the Prophet Muhammad was actually policing his society on what to do good and what to do bad, and all the commandments to do things that are good and forbid evil. And so what do the feminists and modernists have to say to this? Oh, haram police. You're a haram police. So if you turn around and say what is legally right and how you should legally act according to Islam, then you've become a haram police. So if the Prophet Muhammad was living today and told these modernists or feminists, this is how you should be doing the hijab, then they will actually turn around and say to the Prophet Muhammad, you are a haram police. It's interesting because they like to manipulate Islamic Aqidah. They would say, you're not Allah, you're not God. Why are you judging? Only Allah should be judging. But what they don't understand is, I'm not judging from myself. I didn't invent the Quran. I'm using the Quran to judge you. So I'm using Allah's book to judge you. That's what I'm judging you with. I'm not judging you with my desire. I'm judging you with what Allah has said. So when I judge you, I'm only passing on the judgment that Allah has given you through the Quran on how to actually dress properly. So don't allow these modernists to misinterpret the Quran, the Quranic standard here. This is how devoid the meaning of hijab has become. It's been reduced to a piece of cloth on the head, such that there is no contradiction between wearing a hijab and going to girls' Q shows, going to bars, or even being a man. As you can see here, this is a person, Jay Stewart, who writes, I am trans and wear the hijab. Big deal. I have gone to my girlfriend's Girls' Q's show at a bar in a hijab. I have made friends because of it. People ask questions and they are open to learning. It's been a positive experience for me and no temptation for booze. They serve a great espresso. This is how, what has led to this state of affairs, answers the teacher and compassionate imams who told their students for years. They are the following. Number one, hijab is a personal choice. Number two, No one should ever tell a woman how to dress, not even a father telling his daughter or husband telling his wife. Number 3, we should never judge anyone. Judgment is bad. Never let anyone feel like you disapprove of their actions. This is what they're teaching, right? But the correct way is, number 1, hijab is a personal choice, but one that comes with severe consequences in the ahirah for those who disobey their creator. Number 2, fathers and husbands should make sure their daughters and wives are dressed appropriately and abiding by modesty guidelines. And this isn't something strange. I mean, the secular modern world does the same thing. I mean, even when you go to work, your boss will tell you that what you're wearing is inappropriate. You know, you need to come in with a suit and a tie in some workplaces. But do you see these people saying, oh, look, we're being oppressed. Our values are being oppressed now, folks. Look, this is not right. This is inappropriate in the 21st century. The boss is telling me what to wear and what not to wear. Do you see them saying that? No. But, the husband said what is appropriate to wear. Oh, look, how dare he? How dare a man of the house tell me what to do? I mean, do you see the twisted logic? Number 3, we do judge someone's actions as right or wrong, and if the situation is appropriate, we should inform him or her in the best way so that he or she can improve. That is what enjoining good and forbidding evil is all about. Hijab is not just a piece of cloth, but an entire system of modesty and appropriate relations between the two genders. Just covering your hair does not mean you are in hijab. Thanks to Daniel Hakikato. And in this section, I'll try and address a few more questions. Arif writes, please don't judge anyone for the amount of faith and stop being self-righteous, as you haven't seen their hearts and we haven't seen yours. Again, I ask Arif, does he actually say the same thing to police? You know, when you're doing the wrong thing in society, does he say to the police officer, please don't judge me for breaking the law because your heart is not as proven to be as righteous as mine? Would he ever say such a thing? So why would he say that to another Muslim who's using the hukum of Allah? And again, no one judged the amount of faith. We judged what they're actually wearing. We didn't actually judge what's in their heart, and to prove whether they are a kafir or less righteous than someone who's doing it properly. And yes, I agree. There are times when a woman is slowly trying to wear the hijab and she's trying to do it gradually. But our judgment is not based on that. It's on a segment of the community like the feminists or the modernists who claim this is a valid hijab. And many reverts who are coming to Islam are getting confused on what is the correct hijab and what is not the correct hijab. Therefore, if we need to present what is the correct form of hijab. And Nazia writes something very good. She says, it's not judgmental, it's informative. Some ladies don't even realize when we are dressed wrong, and that could include myself. You know, it's interesting too, because we see this a bigotry towards men. Certain feminists or modernists say it's not right for men to tell women how to dress or what to do. So then let's kick the father out of the house, because he's got no say on how his daughters or his wife behave. His opinion matters not. So we should just kick him out of the house now. He has got no say in the affairs. So would the same standard apply for women? Women shouldn't be